Pezza, another fascinating day of Test cricket. Say whatever you would like to say. About the way England go about their cricket. It is scintillating. It is scintillating cricket. Ben Duckett scores one of the all-time great hundreds, although I keep saying that every time England play, it seems. So is that superfluous? I'm not sure. It's stunning. I'm also getting England starting their innings 5 extra runs on the board because some blokes are running down the wicket. Sir Alistair Cook says it's deliberate. Who am I to judge? And then, of course, we get the great man, India's most famous YouTuber. Probably he gets his 500th Test wicket. That's going to be good for views. But let's start the day, Pezza, by showing the scores and what's happened in the game so far, because it feels like it's been about 72 hours since India were dismissed for 445, as we see here. Rohit Sharma. Did Rohit Sharma score 131 of 196? If that happened, I don't remember it. Ravindra Jadeja, of course, out early this morning, out for 112. Sarfaraz Khan, 62. But then Jurel, 46 on debut today. I liked the look of it. Once again, Ashwin, he's just the thorn in the side of England's bat with ball, with spikes underneath his feet, running down decks. All out 445, and then England's come out this morning and for the rest of the day, and they finished the day 207 for 2. That means they're 238 runs behind India on the first innings. That's what's happened. There are the scores as you can see them. I hope you're enjoying the tech. Pezza, it's a game of cricket we're looking at here, man. England are balls deep into this series. They're not even knees deep. It's got up to the balls now. They're balls deep in the series.
Yeah, dog. And Ben Duckett got it done today. This is a guy that is the epitome of baseball, really, both in terms of how he plays now, in that that style that they have, but also in terms of the transformation he's had in his own game. He has been completely released into his natural style of cricket through the way England want to play. And every time he bats, I feel like if it goes for an hour or two, you're fucked. But normally what happens is, or at least it feels like, he looks incredible. He'll go at 6 or 7 and over, but he'll end up scratching off or playing some stupid shot. Not today. Not today. He made it count. He could go daddy. It could be more strong fatherhood vibes this time from England, some King George shit, etc. And it isn't. It's funny, isn't it, man? Like, I don't know about you. Every time I looked up at the screen, there was a boundary. It's 19 fours and a 6 in 100s, 82 runs in 4s or 6s. In his 100 runs. He does it from 88 balls. That's the fastest Englishman in India to do that. Maybe a couple of equinoxes there, but pretty good going. And we gave him, and I'm sure he'd be really bothered by this, but bit of shit for saying that he had 10 to 20 sweep shots or whatever it was. Am I exaggerating? Well, that's the spirit of this whole thing. And we actually did see them today. We saw them all, including like deal scooping spinners and shit. Or was that Pope? Who fucking knows? Anyway, yeah, he's been averaging 50 odd since he came back into the side. He's striking at 90s. He renders oppositions kind of hapless. I don't think I've seen India's spinners, albeit on a pretty flat deck. I don't seem to recall India's spinners being so neutered as they were today. Good balls were just being broomed with one of the 10 sweep shots on offer. Fair play, fair fucks to Ben Duckett today.
Pezza, none of this would be possible without TGC being supported by India's highest selling energy drink in a can in India. That's right, Hell Energy. Go on, Charlie, do your thing.
Did you think that your talent would leave you today when it was all up to you? All you need is a little spark to go like hell. Hell Energy.
Thanks as always to Hell Energy Drink. I'll tell you what, people have been loving Hell Energy Drink. I'm getting a lot of commentary for it. Now, just sticking with Ben Duckett, that's his 3rd Test 100 to go along with 7 Test 50s, averaging, but going into this test, he was averaging 41. It's only 17 Test matches so far. I mentioned at the top there, Pezza, about like say whatever you like about England, and I think it might have been about the way they're going about it, especially in relation to how much they're enjoying themselves at the moment. And you know what? As a neutral, I'm getting off on this cricket. Like I'm getting off on the enjoyment of it because it is so fast and the games do move along so quickly. I think who was it on commentary? Fuck, I can't think who it was, but they were mentioning that like this hasn't happened overnight, and I was thinking, no, this has happened overnight. And I think about Ben Duckett, who I think 2 Ashes ago in Australia was sent home for pouring a beer on Jimmy Anderson's head in Perth, in a Perth bar. Again, more Perth stuff. Awesome. I'd never seen Ben Duckett before, so I'm not going to pretend to know what his form was like before then. It was obviously good enough to get himself into an Ashes squad away from home. But seeing this now, he's probably the last jigsaw piece of the puzzle of the batters yet to contribute big in recent times. But I tell you what, like he's bagging on about the sweep shots. It was fucking glorious. And on top of that unconventional stuff, I suppose, like the way he brings up his 100 with 2 on drives, one off Bumrah, one off Siraj. I mean, they are nothing but sumptuous. And I've never in my life used the word sumptuous for anything other than a cricket shot. Now, that's a problem for me moving forward, most definitely. But sumptuous, Pezza.
Yeah.
Sumptuous, yeah. Of course, R.I.P. He's still alive. He's just never going to get back on the side. Ben Duckett, today, sumptuous. Sumptuous. I just want to keep saying sumptuous.
This is the thing, man. Like, it's a Bazball suck-off day, frankly.
Yep. Bazball suck-off day.
You know, like don't need to like split the atom on all this kind of stuff. The self-fellatio on the non-suck-off days is difficult, and I think that those who do fellate, who engage in the fellatio, would surely understand that. You know, from an Australian perspective, you're watching self-fellatio when there's not a lot to fellate. Chick-fillate. You're gonna say something, but today is a fellatio day for Bazball, and fair enough. For all those who partake, Ben Duckett has made 100 off 88 balls. He's still at the crease. He's looking, like a yet another player unable to be impregnated. And he waits for the ball. It's like he's got time. It's hand-eye coordination deluxe. You can ask questions of the aesthetic if you like, but not when you make 100 off 88 rocks. Against a pretty good attack. Where are we at vis-a-vis Jadeja? Like, is he on limited bowling? Just bringing on Jadeja 1 for 137. Okay, only 20 overs had passed, but you kind of like, he must be on limited bowling or some shit. I even felt like they were late to bring on Ashwin. I think he came on the 10th over, but it was none for 7 or whatever the fuck it was. So,
hey boys, any danger?
Like, come on, let's just get him on. Let's get these. Let's start spinning a web here. But they really couldn't. We're going to talk about Ashwin's major milestone, but a lot of those spinners were, they were hit off their lines and lengths because of the risks that Duckett's prepared to take. And I've got to say, like, even with the way Pope was batting as well before he was dismissed, we'll get to that because obviously I think the tech went wrong again, according to some England pundits.
Yep.
But a lot of the shots they're playing, where they thrust a massive front pad there that is asking to be blown up, and just a swish across the line. In times gone by, your eyes start widening, like a fucking Tom and Jerry cartoon going, a pad is about to be struck, because I have seen that big Shane Watson pad, thrust upon me and struck with a red cherry so many times you don't even need a review, though it may be asked for. But it doesn't happen with these guys. And that's probably what the overnight comment means. Like, you can see these shots, they look like the shots that if you watched in grade cricket, you go, oh, fucking here we go, boys. Here we go. One's coming here, boys. And it doesn't really come. And they just score at 6, 7 and over. So I understand the fellatio. Definitely going to call out, like, fellatio that isn't valid, invalid fellatio. But today's a day of fellating. So, fellate away.
Jadeja having one of the all-time weirdest games because England are targeting him. He's on limited duties. He comes on to bowl at 1 for 137 or whatever it was, as you rightly said there. He's just scored 100, a brilliant 100 in the position where the team needed him. He's also might have cost the team by running out a guy who might have taken the game away from him. I just can't figure out the game. Now, you mentioned Ollie Pope getting a rough decision. I feel like no one's ever happy because on one side of the fence, obviously the tech has stopped working. On the other side, Sanjay Madranka on commentary in the last over of the day, Ashwin gets an LBW review going for Duckett, and then the ball is deemed to be pitching outside leg. There is about 1/17 of the ball pitching in line. Sanjay Madranka on commentary says, well, in my opinion, that should just be counted as given inside the tram lines, because if you got a foot in the door, then you're in. So no one's happy with the tech, depending on who you go for.
It does seem to be like there seems to be some pattern there with who says it and when. I mean, Stuart Broad said on X, he just showed the footage and just said, it looks hard to me for 3 reds.
Yeah, okay.
But,
proof.
The old truck out the back, they're at work again, and Rod Tucker's got the earpiece in. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay, Pezza, I want to get to the second thing. Here we go. England began their first innings here, and this game, 5 for none without a ball being bowled after India hit with a 5-run penalty because Ashwin, who is now the key catalyst for the rest of this episode, he is the key and central protagonist for the rest of this show. He was deemed to be running on the protected area of the pitch whilst batting in the first session on day 2, that is today. Now, Pezza, Alistair Cook, you might remember him. He used to captain England. Sir Alistair Cook, indeed, was of the opinion that perhaps some foul play was afoot, pun intended. He said this, is it deliberate? Yes, it is. Alistair Cook's on TNT Sports, obviously the UK broadcaster back there. He said, it's a tactical ploy that you can disturb the middle of the wicket because Ashwin wants as much help as possible when he can bowl. Normally, it happens in the third innings. You're 150, 200 runs ahead, and you think, just make sure you get up and down the wicket. That was gamesmanship there, wasn't it? Now, I feel like all day yesterday, England were fucking all over this. There were several discussions yesterday. I can even think distinctly, even Sarfaraz Khan was warned. He then made a single about an over. He took a single about an over later, started running down the wicket, then took a massive hop to his right hand side. It just so happens that Ashwin is the one. In the same way that the Mario Balotelli scores a goal in the Manchester Derby and then pulls up a shirt that says, why always me? I'm not sure the answer to that necessarily, but it does feel correlated. Ashwin is the one to get penalised. And so a bit going on there. I don't think it's ever happened before in Test cricket, the batting side being penalised 5 penalty runs for running up and down the deck. But I did notice yesterday that England were fucking all over it. I mean, they were calling that out from like the first session. So I don't know. It's just a thing that's happened, Pezza. Don't shoot the messenger. It's just a thing that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's a correlation between those who play with Rubik's Cubes and caring about this as well. Like just 5 for none, and then there was a no ball. The first ball, it's like, and then people made the joke, Bazball's so good. England is 6 without a ball. I haven't had sex in 17 months. I noticed that England were all over it. It looked like a whiteboard message, like just to protect and to let the umpire know and all that kind of thing. Got to say, I don't pay a bunch of attention to that kind of stuff. I'm sure India were like running down the deck a little bit, just like all cricketers do things a little bit. It wouldn't just be India, and that England probably just raised awareness of it really well. You could see Joe Root in the background blowing up, ref foul, that kind of thing. But
referee.
Yeah, I like that we're starting with that instead of Ashwin taking 500 Test wickets. That's the brand.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about Ashwin's 500th Test wicket. He gets Zach Crawley caught by Patidar there. He comes on, as you say, a little late in the 10th over. Only 60 balls had been bowled, but he gets his 500th Test match wickets. He finishes day 7 overs bowled, 1 for 37. Almost gets the breakthrough of Duckett right there at the end, so close to having him trapped in front. But it's an average of 23 in Test Pezza. It's an economy of 2.7. It's a strike rate of 51 balls. There's 24 4-wicket hauls, if that's even a thing, which it isn't, as we know. But it's 34 5-wicket hauls in Test match cricket, and it's 8 10-fers. And no, I'm not reading that. That's just me looking at the tattoo in my arm, thinking about Ashwin's stats, which of course is now ruined because he's still playing, so I'm going to have to update that later. But a best of 7 for 59, a best of 13 for 140 in best bowling match figures. Is it India's best ever? I mean, it probably is. I mean, in my lifetime, Harbhajan was the guy, obviously, but it's better than Harbhajan, I think.
Anil Kumble has 619 Test wickets, but he plays between 1990 and 2008. I'm not reading this. I did read it before. 132 Tests. The longevity is there, but Kumble took his at an average of 29, and Ashwin's at 24. Just under 24, to be fair to him. It's if you're at a water cooler, you're having a conversation, Ashwin's in it. I mean, from an Australian perspective, he's been a demon against us. The sooner he's in the commentary box telling us everything about the game, the better from an on-field Australian perspective. I think he's definitely destroyed us home and away. He's a fantastic bowler. He's a great of the game. Throw his batting into it as well. And the fact that he's got it done across a couple of formats just solidifies that position. It's always been curious that in spite of that, statistical greatness, he still battled for a lot of spots and playing 11s, particularly away from home. I'm not saying that's a blot on the copybook necessarily. It probably speaks more to the riches of Indian spin that they have. But I mean, yeah. What else do you say? It's a number of wickets completely befitting of the guy, and he gets it in fewer than 100 Test matches. Which is pretty rare. He gets it. I mean, a lot of people are knocking this statistic around at the moment. It's the second fewest balls to 500 wickets as well. It's probably a pretty relevant stat behind Glenn McGrath and ahead of many others, obviously, by nature of being second. So I didn't need to say that. Speaking of superfluous. So, yeah. And I did like a tweet, actually, from just Ernest for a second. There's someone called Manya on Twitter wrote, he's a YouTuber, he's a content creator. He's mostly the second best batter in any innings. He teaches law at the MCC in his free time. He sits at the auction table. In between all this, Ashwin has managed to collect 500 Test wickets. What a legend. So, yeah, I think, 500 Test wickets is pretty good.
Yeah, and you mentioned his batting there as well. I've just got his stats up here. It's obviously 5 Test hundreds, 14 50s, but it's averaging 26, often batting at no higher than 7, sometimes as low as 9.
Well, how's that?
At that those sort of contributions. I mean, we were talking about this before the series started. Obviously Jadeja's now found himself batting as high as 5, and his record in the last few years, he's averaging 50 in Tests and stuff. So it's just unbelievable. But the amount of times that India have found themselves in trouble on difficult decks, especially in the last few years, and Ashwin comes in and contributes, and he just takes the game away from the opposition just through lower order runs. It's masterful, and like the way he's obviously invented deliveries with the Karam ball, his control. Obviously, yeah, you mentioned his record away from home has meant recently that Jadeja plays ahead of him, but it's just complete fear. As anyone that supports a team that isn't India, and then they watch their team go in India, and Ashwin literally just turns you over and goes to work.
Yep.
It's
comes in to bowl it more and more. Looks like he's about to bowl left-handed with where his shoulder goes, and then just turns it the other way, and he's fucking spinning some yarn before he even lets go of the ball. Round the wicket, where's it going? All of a sudden there's a pad, the ball's striking the pad, see you later.
Yeah, and it's the right kind of appeal as well. It's kind of this shuffling appeal, like he's on a shuffleboard whilst doing jazz hands, just somehow shuffling away like Michael Jackson doing a moonwalk. His feet aren't moving, but he's somehow shuffling away like he's on a rocky ship or something.
Yeah, correct.
Something to think about there for the rocky ship fans. Hashtag AskTGC, Pezza. if that's where we're at for the rest of the for this day's play. Please get in your hashtag AskTGCs. We need more hashtag AskTGCs into the comments so you can get around us, and in turn, we will get around you hard. Now, this one comes in from Review the Puss, I believe it's pronounced. And he says, why didn't Ashwin use a hammer to scuff up the pitch? That would have been less obvious and done more damage. The Penguins, that being the umpires, will still have given the English coach 5 penalty runs. Now, it's an interesting point. Like, you can basically get to a point where you completely destruct the wicket, which is not what India's done so far, but you could actually just bring a hammer out to the deck and you just fuck it up. Yeah. And the penalty would be 5 runs. So I think, if anything, it's, like, in terms of risk-reward, that's definitely worth it. So I think Review the Puss makes a good point here, Pez.
It's well, it's certainly a point that will really appeal to a lot of people who believe that the laws of cricket are truly black and white, incontrovertible, with no layers of grey. So if you're prepared to sacrifice 5 cricket runs, you can do whatever the fuck you want to the wicket and nothing will happen to you. Okay, perhaps later there'll be fines and all that kind of stuff. But if there aren't provisions for that, yeah, maybe. But, if there aren't provisions within the laws of that, if you're somebody who doesn't believe that there's any other element to law, like, you consider concepts of spirit, to be nebulous, etc., that we're talking law is 2 + 2 = 4, mathematics, run out non-strikers end, as an example, then yeah, mate, do whatever you like. Get your bat, just start fucking hammering it on a length. Get the handle of a bat and just start screwing it in like you're trying to pitch a tent. You know what I'm saying? Like, because all you're going to do is concede 5 runs. I love the little loopholes that the Rubik's Cubes have found today.
Well, in terms of things that I've found today, I have found some mojo for this test series because England are right on the verge of busting this series wide open. I include even Bumrah having a gel pack late in the day. It might have just been some cramp. There was some talk about a hamstring. Obviously, a jelk pack. The physio came out and jelked him.
Well, I wouldn't give.
Hell. We were so close to the end. But that England are 238 runs behind. It's going to move along quickly. Oh my God, are things happening for the first time in more than 10 years here in India vis-a-vis a very close series? Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. So please do join us here. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the internet tomorrow. Cheers.